All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about the incredible 150-year story of a song. But this isn't just any song. It's a song that helped shape the very identity of a nation. We're talking, of course, about Vande Mataram. And that quote right there really gets to the heart of it. This is so much more than a piece of music. It's the story of how a six-stanza poem transformed into a revolutionary slogan, a spiritual anthem, and a force of history that, believe me, still echoes today. And this anniversary is a huge deal, 150 years. From its quiet beginning on November 7th, 1875, to its really complex legacy in modern India, the story of Vande Mataram is, in a lot of ways, the story of India itself, its long, hard walk to freedom, and its search for a soul. So to really get why this song is so powerful, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. Back to a time when Vande Mataram was just a poem on a page, long before it was ever a national battle cry. Okay, so picture this. It's a sacred festival day in Bengal. The writer Bankim Chandra Chatterjee feels this wave of inspiration. He starts to imagine the motherland not as, just a piece of land, but as a living, breathing goddess. A goddess watered by rivers, covered in harvest, but also armed, ready to crush tyranny. It's this powerful mix of beautiful Sanskrit and flowing Bengali. Now, what's crucial here is that this was a slow burn. For years, it was basically just a poem. Then, in 1882, Chatterjee puts it inside his novel Anandamath, a story about monks fighting the British. But the real breakthrough? That comes in 1896, when the literary giant Rabindranath Tagore himself performs it, giving the poem its first real national stage. And you gotta love the irony here. Chatterjee was actually so bummed out by the lack of interest at first that he joked he should have written an ode to the stomach instead. If only he knew what was coming. His poem was about to absolutely explode. Okay, this is where the story really catches fire. This quiet little poem gets thrown into the furnace of revolution and comes out the other side as a political weapon. The year 1905 was the flashpoint. The British decide to partition Bengal, and this decision sparks outrage all across India. All of a sudden, Vande Mataram wasn't just a song anymore. It became the rallying cry. Those two words captured the entire spirit of resistance against colonial rule. Well, the British government got scared. They saw how this song could unite people, and they moved fast to stamp it out. The singing of Vande Mataram, even shouting the slogan, was officially banned. But here's the fascinating part. The more the British tried to crush it, the stronger it got. Every attempt at repression was met with an even bigger act of defiance. We're talking about students in Bengal, revolutionaries like Madanlal Vingra in England, and even Madame Kama in Germany. Vande Mataram became this ultimate symbol of a nation that just refused to be quiet. So, beyond its political life, the song started to live this whole other life, a rich and incredibly diverse musical one. It was like a canvas, and all these different artists came to paint their own vision of what the nation sounded like. And this just shows you how amazingly versatile it was. Tagore gave it that haunting, spiritual vibe. Vishnu Digambar Paluskar sang it defiantly in Raga Kafi. For Subhash Chandra Bose's army, it became a powerful marching tune. And of course, you have Hemant Kumar making it iconic in cinema, and then, decades later, A.R. Rahman completely reimagined it for a whole new generation. Just think about that for a second. Over 130 different versions. And yet, with all that fame, the person who composed maybe its most widely heard version, that soulful tune that opened all India radio for decades, is still unknown. It's this beautiful little mystery right at the heart of India's morning routine. So what happens after independence? Well, this brings us to the final and maybe the most complicated chapter in the song's life. Its immortal, but also deeply contested legacy. This really lays out the core tension. On the one hand, you have the undisputed anthem of the freedom struggle, this incredible symbol of patriotism. But on the other hand, some serious objections were raised. The imagery of Hindu goddesses, plus some anti-Muslim passages in the original novel Anandamath, led some Muslim leaders to say, hey, this feels exclusionary and it conflicts with our belief in one God. So how do you navigate that? Well, they found a path of compromise. Back in 1937, the Congress decided to officially adopt only the first two stanzas, the parts that focus on the beauty of the motherland, without the specific religious imagery in the later verses. And this move really set the stage for what would happen after independence. And here's the final answer they came up with. On January 24, 1950, it was announced that Vande Mataram would be India's national song. It would have a status equal to the national anthem, Jana. This was a way to honor its massive role in the freedom struggle without making it the one and only mandatory anthem for everyone. And that push and pull between reverence and compulsion, it's still around today. You'll see courts often encouraging the singing of Vande Mataram to honor its legacy, but they've consistently stopped short of making it mandatory because they understand the sensitivities involved. So after 150 years, Vande Mataram is still all these things at once: a beautiful poem, a fierce battle cry, a beloved melody, and a point of debate. It kind of makes you ask a pretty deep question, right? What exactly is the sound of a nation's soul? Is it supposed to be a single perfect anthem, or is it more like a chorus of many different voices, each with its own history, its own harmony, and even its own disagreements? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.